For entrepreneurs, for those leading anything in any way, shape, or form, there's going to have to be the time that you learn how to dance with the fear. You have to step into it and not allow it to control you, to dictate you, to fight against it, but to dance with it. And that's where you begin to use that energy in some really cool ways. And it sounds like that's a little bit of what you did.
Yeah, and I'll say too, it's not necessarily the type of like crippling, I'm afraid fear. And it's the kind of fear that we read about in scripture where there's a level of respect to it. That it's not like I'm not carrying a fear. I'm not walking around in fear.
Yeah.
I don't carry it with me, but it's the thought that if I don't do this, we don't eat.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything to me that's not a I'm scared kind of fear.
Yeah.
It's a level of respect fear. Oh, I respect that.
Interesting.
I respect that my actions or lack of actions help produce food on our table. Which I think if we get primitive about it, like that's the way it was. There was no, back in the caveman days, if you will, there was no like you show up to the office and you can fart around on your, stone on your tablet.
Your stone tablet.
See what I did there? See what I did?
That's pretty good.
You can't play solitaire on your tablet and then just punch out and go home and go, all right, I made money today to be able to pay for no, you had to go out and make it happen.
And if you didn't, you didn't eat, kind of thing. It's like
right. And there's a phrase that sits on my desk that this is the number one thing that Will taught me during that season, and I always come back to it, and that's to work hard and trust God. We work hard because of the passion and the vision that has been set before us. But the results are not ultimately up to us. It's up to us to be faithful in showing up and putting in the work. It's up to us to plant when we find ourselves in a new field and we don't know what to plant. We just plant. Right.
Interesting.
We trust God that He's going to grow up out of that field, whatever it is that He has for us next. That's how we operate as believers anyway.
Man. And it's man, I love that analogy because I think so often there's sometimes that fear puts me in the fetal position,
Oh, sure. You want to bury yourself in the ground, not plant the ground. You're like, I'm going to dig a hole, all right, but I'm going to get in it.
Yeah. And it's like, what's the next right thing? Like you said, if you go, I'm in a new field, I don't know what to plant, you plant something. And then you learn from that and you move.
Yeah, plant something.
And that's beautiful.
Yeah, it either grows or it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so me reaching out to my contacts on my phone, every time I do that, it's me planting something. Planting. Yeah. And it may produce nothing, but we have not because we ask not.
Man, that reminds me, this is kind of a off topic a little bit, but obviously in my life, if you know any of my story, walking through a divorce, walking through the hardest time of my life, just everything gets flipped upside down. And I remember just sitting in my brother's office one day, just like defeated and just walking through this whole thing. And he says something that haunts me in a good way still to this day. And he goes, the only way to make it through the valley of the shadow of death is to just keep walking. Like, you can't go around it. There's nothing you can do. Nope. You just keep walking. And I think a little bit of what you're saying there is like, well, you can't just lay down in the ditch and go, take me. It's like, no, we got we got to get some work going. We got to do some things. We got to get a little bit uncomfortable. We got to put ourselves out there in a way that maybe we haven't before. And we got to do the thing that scares us maybe the most. And so, Dustin, talk to me a little bit about, you get past the initial shock, the initial grief of everything. You're getting into it a little bit more. You kind of have that moment, right, where you're like, I think I could do this.
Yeah.
Was there a time that you go, you make that decision and then you go, I've made a terrible error?
Oh man. I think it would be better for this podcast if I did have that moment, but no, honestly, it's been, No, I never had that. For me, it was every day was further confirmation that I was
Yeah.
doing the right thing.
Well, and just because it doesn't fit into the narrative that some people would think needs to go there, doesn't mean that it's not powerful. Is basically what you said is you go, hey, here are the couple of things that I know I need to do. I need to
Yeah.
start planting. And as you planted more, the seedlings that popped up, you went, ha, yes,
Yeah.
I can do this.
A good friend of mine once gave a sermon that a lot of people still talk about. This was a few years ago. He talked about going through the storms, and he talked about the buffalo and how buffalo, when they see a storm, they run towards the storm, not around it, not away from it. They run towards it because the quickest way out of the storm is through it.
Yeah.
Right. But then and when I close my eyes and I think about a buffalo going towards a storm, when I've just closed my eyes and think of a buffalo, period, all I think about is this sheer mass of strength and muscle.
Yeah.
Right. That one of the strongest creatures on earth is the one that goes through the storm, not the one that goes around it or away from it. And so I just look at it and go like, okay, there must be something better on the other side.
Yeah.
Because retreating is not the best for me, and going around it is not the best for me. So what must be the best for me is to go through it.
Through. Oh man, that'll what they say. Preach.
That's what it did. Preach. That was a great message.
I'm sitting here thinking. I mean, I think you and I were talking before the cameras turned on. Is it like you said? I think you started the podcast with it. It's just like this week is just heavy. It's hard. It's one of those you go, I just want to shrink back, or I just want to lay down in the ditch and just put the dirt on top. Like let's just call it right.
Yeah.
And
there's a guaranteed outcome in that, though.
Yeah. You're right.
There's a guaranteed outcome of quitting.
Yeah.
There is no other possibility.
Yeah.
Going through the storm, there's the possibility of another outcome.
Yeah. What's on the other side of that?
Yeah.
And I think that's anybody that starts something and I think entrepreneurs or, ministry leaders or those that are, in charge of something and leading something in some way, like you have to go through the storm, because the minute that you shrink back, the minute that you lay down, yes, there's an outcome, but it's also like, man, like everything that you were built for, the reason that you feel that thing of like starting or doing or creating that thing is because that's how you were wired. That's something that is inside of you and something that is not there by mistake. And that's what I always keep coming back to when I find myself in these days and I got to get through the storm, is like, like going back to the, leaning on somebody else or not stepping into it fully. It's like, I'm not being fully me at this point. So at this point you go down swinging.